Are you struggling to get more wins in Apex Legends? Well, good, because in today's video, I'm laying out 5 of my best strategies so that players of any skill level can start to get more wins in this season and every season beyond. Winning in Apex has some really simple concepts, but when you factor in all of the different variables the game has, it can quickly get very hectic. If anyone is new here, I just want to let you know that my channel centers around helping you all improve at Apex Legends, but let's just jump right into this video. The first strategy is passiveness is not going to cut it, at least in the long run. The first strategy to develop more wins has to center around getting into more fights. Now, I know this will trigger some of you, but hear me out on this one. Landing edge of the map and finding the last 2 teams fighting only for you to third party them is an easy way to victory. But I also know that this isn't going to go your way most of the times. And I know that the majority of times you will probably end up looting for 10 minutes, get all kitted out, and just die to the first team that you run into within the first 30 seconds. I remember that as a new player, and I hated that feeling. I used to just try to survive to end game and then take a fight or two, and this was not a good plan for me. So my first strategy to get more wins is to get into more fights. Of course, there's going to be a balance in doing this because you don't need to int every team in the lobby, but you do want to fundamentally improve your gun skill and game sense by doing this. If you do this, I promise you, you are bound to improve overall, and as a byproduct, you will start to earn more wins. It's not something that will come super easy, but if you want to streamline getting wins, you just have to be ready to take on whatever situation you and your team find yourself in. See, the sooner I started to do this as a player, the more I just focused on winning the fights my team and I took, and winning the game started to come much more often. Second strategy is about loadouts. Now, I know I'm going to get comments on this video like, well, Mangos, I like to run the Sentinel and the Mozambique, and I get a ton of wins. And look, that's great. Like, I just keep doing your thing, bud. But for the people who want to know what guns I consistently look for and why, listen up. The primary weapons I'm using are usually the Flatline, R301, Volt, R99, or Hemlock, or Wingman. Secondaries usually are shotguns, guns like Mastiff or Peacekeeper. If I do run a long-range weapon, it is from time to time, but these weapons are definitely going to be the triple take or the longbow. Now, that doesn't mean the other guns I didn't mention are bad, because I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I tend to use these weapons the most, and I see these weapons in a lot of the top tier players' hands, and that speaks for itself. Now, if I'm running long range, I want to make a point to swap out that gun if I get towards end game, because the ring is going to be smaller, and presumably that fight that we get into is going to be close range. So using the longbow for late game isn't super viable unless you are a no-scope god. I tend to only use these guns that I previously mentioned if I think they are currently the best in the game. Of course, you could just pick up the Rampage and annihilate the entire lobby because, hey, that gun is absolutely busted. Loadouts do play a specific role in Apex, but Apex has done a pretty good job as of late to make all of the guns viable to a certain degree. But with that said, I truly believe the weapons I just listed are the top tier weapons this season and probably for the foreseeable future. If you guys are enjoying this video and want to hear the next 3 strategies, all I ask in return is for you to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's free, it's only going to take a second of your time, and before you know it, that you are going to be an Apex predator while you implement all of these strategies and you're just winning every single game. I mean, when I run into you in a game, I'm going to be losing because I gave you all of the best strategies. So all I want in return is just for you to smash the like button. Let's talk about strategy number 3, landings. Where should you be landing for more wins? Well, the simple answer is somewhere with no more than 3 teams. I like to contest a team or 2, but if you're playing for wins, a safer drop is probably the better option. And all I mean by safe is simply not with a ton of teams, especially at a small POI. Sure, you can land uncontested, but I wouldn't always do this because it's not something you want to get too comfortable with. Contesting drops is a big part of any battle royale experience, and I believe it's important to buff this skill set, especially for newer players. You can be landing uncontested if you're going near a hectic drop, but you want to secure getting some weapons first. This way, you're still getting into some early action, but you're not secluded on the edge of the map from the rest of the teams in your game. And on the flip side, you're also not just playing the RNG game too heavily when it's not something you're really comfortable with. So landing uncontested but close to a hectic drop could be the best of both worlds option for you. There's a real psychological aspect to Apex where if you don't get into any fights in the beginning or the middle of the game, it starts to get pretty uncomfortable fighting at the end game. And I know this is a fact, not only from coaching hundreds of players, but also from my own experience playing. If you get into some early fights and you win those fights, you almost feel unstoppable, or at least ready to take on whatever else is going to come your way. Don't believe me? Try it out. Strategy number 4 is focus on your whole screen. And I'm not just talking about what's in front of you. I mean what's to the left, right, up, down, and your UI. UI just stands for user interface, for anybody wondering. This is something I'm always teaching to the players that I coach. Now, it's not something that new players will be comfortable doing because frankly, there's going to be way bigger priorities that your attention is on. But you can and should start to do this at any point of your gameplay. You have a whole user interface for a reason, and good players are utilizing every bit of it. Let's discuss all of the important things on your screen that you probably tend to overlook. You and your teammates' health and shield bar. This can tell you a lot. For example, if you're engaging but you don't have clear line of sight on your teammate, but you notice their armor and health evaporate quickly, you should understand that your teammate is in grave danger and probably about to get knocked. Now, if you're just around the corner from them, you should focus your attention to assist them if you can. This way, you've read the whole situation without your teammate ever saying a word. And if you solo queue, well, they're probably not saying a word. The next important thing is the mini-map. You got to use this for your navigation. If you don't do this, I think it will take a lot of newer players longer to not only learn where they are on the map, but also what different points of interest are called and what are the rotations from one to another. You definitely also want to focus on your ammo count, making sure that your weapon is reloaded, the kill feed, the squad's left alive, what ring it is on, and much more. There's so much info being displayed on your screen at all times, on top of whatever you are actively looking at in your field of view. So learn to use it to your advantage. Not too many people talk about this, especially on YouTube, but I can assure you every top tier player is doing this to one degree or another. Strategy number 5, play the circle. Playing for circle can save you from a lot of trouble, and you can use it as a power position in a lot of scenarios. See, a lot of teams tend to rotate late, and everyone's done it one time or another. The issue I most commonly see is players don't understand where the circle is going, and that if they just beat the team that's behind them who's also rotating late, they can just turn around and hold out the team that's still stuck in zone. This can be such an easy way to not only get kills, but take out the team that holds the biggest threat to you by mirroring your rotation. You always want to make sure if you do hold out another team on the edge of zone, that you aren't also going to get held out by a team further in the circle, because this can have a domino effect, so trust me here. This season, I have witnessed a ton of teams rotating late, and I do think it's a bad habit, but playing the circle can have so many advantages if your team is occupying the best real estate. It usually will put you in the best position to win the game, so start looking at that when you're dying or when you're winning, understanding, hey, were we actually in the best position in this late game scenario, or were we not, and why weren't we? If you practice and implement these 5 strategies, I promise you, you will be well on your way to not only improving your game overall, but winning more games in Apex. If anyone is looking for any Apex coaching lessons, the Fiverr link below has got you covered. Make sure to check out my second channel where I post other Apex content, so every day I'm not posting on my main, I'm going to be posting over there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Here's a clip of me skateboarding. I'll catch you on my next one. Peace.